introduction.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to express my mixed feeling of sadness and happiness. I can't believe that our classes already finished and ended, and we will not meet each other officially in class. But hopefully, we're gonna meet each other all together sometime soon. And I'd like to start my presentation. So I'm Moongyang Park, second year studies student concentrating on Africa studies and conflict management. So following the previous topic of genocide issues in Rwanda and Burundi, today I'm going to talk about other Great Lake region country, which is Democratic Republic of Congo. So in the perspective of UN, what should be the best budget allocation between development program and security program to bring peace in DRC? So when you should have many works to do during this Thanksgiving break. So when you're having that many things that you have to finish on time, in the same time frame, what's your working habit? Do you work one after the other, or do you start working at the same time and then give some priorities on certain things and then give some different proportions that work at the same time?
Usually I prefer one by one.
Okay. So, however, when you want to bring peace, it's not easy. So that's why the UN tasks are usually hard. So you cannot just work on security reform issues, but you also have to work on economic development and governance development so that the country can be stabilized, and then you can also generate employment there. So these are mainly the two tasks, the two main tasks. One is disarmament and demobilization and reintegration process. It targets directly on ex-combatants, so that it's directly working on peace and conflict issues. But at the same time, as I mentioned, when you're putting a lot of money in bringing peace program in DRC, you also have to work on this economic development and governance development. Like you have to invest on infrastructure and so on. So this is my schematic when I was developing my model in risk analysis and modeling course. It seems really complicated, but I'm gonna divide it into two, which is peace program and which is economic program, and then you'll get the end result. So first, there are security concerns because there are exogenous factors that contribute to instability in DRC. I want to consider domestic public attention, and also, especially in DRC case, neighboring countries like Rwanda and Burundi are contributing to continuation of this conflict. So I also want to consider regional security index. So combining these two, I want to make a new index which measures stability in general, and then it'll contribute to how many new combatants will be in the next phase. And combining the previous level of violent combatants and new combatants, it makes a new figure of violent combatants in DRC. And also, if these combatants are going to be reintegrated into the society, the community is really important factor because they have to accept that these competence can be mixed with them, and we also have to work on these competence are not marginalized in the community to stabilize this country and prolong the peace on DRC soil. So this community distrust index is based on duration of conflict and intensity of conflict, because as the conflict is getting longer and longer, this community will be will have more grievance and hatred against this competence because of sexual harassment, and mass killings executed by these militia groups. And also, it also just, as you can easily guess, intensity of conflict is negatively affect this community distrust index. So depending on this community distrust index, we can assume how many budget is needed for one combatant in DDR program, which is security program. And this is an action choice. When the initial international funding is given, we decide whether we're giving more budget to development aid or DDR phase aid. So depending on this action choice, we can decide how much budget is given to DDR phase, and then dividing this by this, we can guess how many combatants can participate in DDR program. However, even though those combatants are participating in DDR program, that doesn't mean that they can actually be a part of the civilian people, because we also have to consider economic situation. So as you already decide how much money will be given to DDR phase, consequently we can measure how much money will be given to development aid. And as there is more money given to development aid, inflow of FDI will be decided, because there will be investment on infrastructure and other private sectors will be instigated. So it should be decided based on that. And also, it's also affected by stability level, because if the stability level instability is high in DRC, it will lessen the inflow of FDI. And based on this, there are many theories that inflow FDI positively affect employment capacity. So I'll decide how many new jobs will be there. Or there is another risk. There are people who participated in this DDR program. However, they participated only because they want to get some benefit of the program. For example, they want to get some extra money and training, but didn't really intend to go back to the society. So after also considering this factor, we finally get how many number of combatants will be reintegrated into the society. And after this, all these programs and cycles for 5 years, and finally we can get how successful is this budget allocation must be, and measured by how many percentage of violent combatants are remaining compared to the initial phase. Therefore, however, I haven't finished modeling this model yet, so I'm not sure which budget allocation would be more successful in lessening combatants and bringing peace in DRC. However, takeaway and lesson from this model is you cannot work on only one task, and for example, you cannot work on development program at first, like you cannot just invest on infrastructure and GDP growth, and then peace will come naturally, automatically. However, you have to work on both things to bring stable peace in DRC. So thank you for listening, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Ooh.